My name is Art Brown. I'm a retired U.S. Army colonel, and this is my story. It's an honor to be asked to share some of my military memories with you, and I'm going to refer to some notes to make sure I don't leave something out here. To begin with, you need to know that my blood runs red, white, and blue. I graduated from West Point in 1962 and served for 24 years in the Army's Corps of Engineers, retiring as a full colonel. In 24 years, we moved 23 times, and we have great memories of meeting and visiting with great people. It's been a privilege to have served. We've made friends from all over the world. My military college experience and leadership opportunities in the active military, for instance, as a company commander and a battalion commander, formed my setting of goals and afforded me the opportunity to lead men and women in the greatest army in the world. I gained several godchildren along the way, with children of officers and enlisted men in my command. I'd also like to share a few interesting stories, at least to me and my friends they're interesting, along my military career. While in Ranger training, I was almost bitten by a water moccasin, narrowly escaping. I've lost 1/3 of my Ranger class to frostbite when, while soaking wet from an all-night escape and evasion patrol, while escaping and evading back to camp, the temperature dropped 58 degrees in 5 hours, from 42 degrees above zero to 16 below zero. And this is in Georgia, in North Georgia. Also, after jumping out of perfectly good airplanes for 2 years while serving in the 101st Airborne, I served in Thailand, where my battalion built Freedom Highway from Bangkok to Korat. I learned as a young engineer how to build roads and bridges, complete with our own rock quarry and hot mix asphalt plant. One of the best jobs I've ever had. In Vietnam, a couple of years later, I lost many friends and classmates. I was in Mekong River Delta during one Viet Cong offensive when one evening my office was bombed out by a Viet Cong rocket or mortar, and my office roof had a huge hole in it, and my desk and chair were pockmarked with a whole bunch of shrapnel holes. Made life very interesting for me. And I was thankful that I was out alive. Thank the good Lord I wasn't at my desk while our compound was under attack. I learned a lot about survival in that tour and have a deep gratitude for my life. When returning from Vietnam, shortly after President Nixon announced a planned pullout, all the short-timers in Vietnam were put in one battalion, sent to 9th Infantry Division. We all were put in one battalion. I ended up being the second ranking man in the battalion. So as the executive officer, I was the leader of the advance party to come back to Seattle and set up the welcome back ceremonies, the parade, and the retirement of the colors. Seattle, at that time, had been the home of the 9th Infantry Division, which I was a part of. One thing that's very interesting about that, we paraded in 65-degree rain the whole time when we were doing the parade. And we had all just come from 95-degree heat in Vietnam. So we were kind of miserable, and we thought, geez, we left misery in Vietnam, and here we had some in Seattle. Interesting juxtaposition there. Then after that, they took all of the East Coast soldiers And we were loaded into a C-141 aircraft and taken to LaGuardia Airport in New York, to JFK Airport, as it is now known. In a turnaround from what most of the previous Vietnam returnees returned and received from the media, which was a bunch of hooey and lack of respect, I had a tremendous conflict. Actually, it was an enjoyable change. The media was at the airport en masse to welcome us all back, along with many families of the returnees. So we got a very positive welcome back as opposed to the previous returnees from Vietnam who got less than a welcome. I had the CBSI microphone shoved in front of my face as many questions were asked. So we were on every major news broadcast from 6 p.m. to 1 a.m. And I had people calling us from all over the country saying, "I just saw you on TV. Congratulations. Welcome home." Also, on the way home, I heard myself talking on WOR radio, and I don't even remember getting interviewed for that. But many of our friends throughout the country had seen us, and it was really a welcome back. And in addition to that, the next morning, one of our neighbors, family's neighbors, when I was in Vietnam, brought over the New York Daily News with a photo on the front page of my son and me. Front page of the New York Daily News. And inside, 2 full pages in the centerfold spread of nothing but pictures of our family, photos of our family. The photographer had asked us if he could follow us home. And he said, "What great human interest stories this is going to make." So we really appreciated that, and it made us feel welcome. Even years later, our photo has been in the documentary about the return from Vietnam, Letters from Vietnam. As a result of all this, I make a claim that I was the first soldier withdrawn from Vietnam, because I was the leader of the advance party and was the first person to set foot on U.S. soil as part of that advance party. And then, as a result of all that, to celebrate all of us returning, the United States astronauts landed on the moon 1 week later, obviously to celebrate our return. Well, maybe not that, but anyway, that really solidified the welcome back for me. One of my career highlights was my duty as an assistant professor and soccer coach at West Point. I'm reminded of what kind of positive influence a professor at West Point has on cadets and our future Army officers, and the lives which follow that. Bob McDonald, one of my very best students while I was teaching, he is now an Orlando resident, and he ended up being very successful. Chairman, after working his way up the ladder, chairman of Procter & Gamble worldwide, secretary of the Veterans Administration, and chairman now of West Point's Association of Graduates. And the most important to me, on the march back of my son's West Point class of 2025, Bob McDonald's class was the 50th reunion class, and he was the class of 75, and he marched back with my grandson the whole way, quite a number of miles. So he's very special to me, and I thank the good Lord that I had the opportunity to be an influence on him and many other cadets while they were there. Overall, my military experience has been a lifelong blessing for me and my extremely supportive and great family. Living overseas taught my children to broaden their horizons. my military experience, including the Air War College, interfacing with members of a sister service and other U.S. government dignitaries, served me well as a project manager at Disney for 22 years. I still communicate with a lot of classmates and others I have met along the way, along this highway of life. I wouldn't trade anything for serving my dear country. It was a privilege, and I have no regrets, and I'm extremely proud to be an American. God bless America. And you can tell I'm painted red, white, and blue inside. God bless America. God bless our servicemen. Thank you.